He looks like some dude off The Office.
All right, Bobby, take us away with this first one, man.
All right, first fight we're going over is going to be Ismael Bonfim versus Vinc Pichel. So this fight's very interesting. We have a drastic age difference to start off. Ismael Bonfim, 28 years old. Vinc Pichel is 41 years old. Biggest thing with Vinc Pichel here is a guy who has appeared to have had a promising career in the UFC. Was on the Ultimate Fighter back in 2012. Did well, only lost to Al Quinta, the fucking real estate agent back in 2012. But other than that, obviously winning 3 out of your 4 fights on the Ultimate Fighter live season is going to impress Dana and the rest of the fucking higher ups. So he got a contract. And he's been in the UFC ever since 2012. But he has had a lot of fucking injuries and a lot of time off as a result that has severely destabilized his career, unfortunately. After he lost his debut, being suplexed and knocked unconscious as a result and punched in the fucking head by Rustam Kabalov in December 2012, to add insult to fucking injury, he also tore his bicep and labrum. And so he was out from December 15th, 2012, when Vinc Pichel made his debut in the UFC, all the way until January 15th of 2014. Won his next 2 fights by unanimous decision against Garrett Whiteley and Anthony Njokuani, and then another huge layoff due to another huge injury. I think it was another hip injury, I believe, forced him to take 2014 up until June 2017 off. Huge time off, but came back, won yet again by KO. Had another fight, unanimous decision 2018, was trying to be active 2018, 19, 20. And then the injury bug bit again, and he's basically fought literally once a year since 2019. Actually, yeah, since 2019, he's fought once a year. Once in 2019, once 2020, once 2021, once 2022, none. No fights in 2023. He's coming off a unanimous decision loss to Mark Madsen, April 2022, so 2-year layoff Vinc Pichel's already looking at. And, no shame in losing to Mark Madsen, but overall, yeah, it's really hard to know what Vinc Pichel could have been, having lost so much of his prime due to such severe injuries that resulted in years off, Fucking Kirk Cousins is out here tearing fucking Achilles and taking horse meat and shit and coming back in 10 months, and everybody's acting like he's the fucking savior of the Falcons. Poor Vinc Pichel is tearing a fucking bicep and missing 3 years. Like, what the fuck gives? So anyway, there's things to give you hope about Vinc Pichel. Roosevelt Roberts, that's decent. Jim Miller, that's a good win. Austin Hubbard, not bad. Rest of these guys that have already went over, I don't even think they're in the fucking UFC. That's unfortunate. Al Quinta definitely isn't. Al Quinta fucking sucks. Sorry if you like him, but this is my goddamn show. This is Ben's show. And if Al Quinta fucking sucks, then he sucks. I'm sorry he sold you a fucking house. Deal with it. He's a better realtor than he ever was a fighter. But anyway, back to the nature at hand. Ismael Bonfim, book it, Dano. There's not much to really go over. The drastic age difference, the ridiculous amounts of years and years of Vinc Pichel's prime wasted due to injury, where he probably couldn't even do much training, let alone actual fighting. That leads to less skill acquisition, less practice, less hours in the gym, fucking et cetera, you name it. I shouldn't have to explain to anybody how fucking debilitating injuries like that take such a severe derailment of your career, how debilitating those are in every fucking aspect. So, Bonfim's the guy with momentum. The only thing that he has going against him is he's coming off a round 1 rear naked choke loss to Benoit Saint-Denis. But I get that Benoit Saint-Denis is not the shiny new fucking toy anymore, and a lot of people are ready to cast him off to the side just because he lost to Dustin Poirier. But before that, Bonfim was on a fucking tear for his young UFC career. He's only been in the UFC since September of 2022, and he won that fight by unanimous decision. Beautiful flying knee knockout of Terrence McKinney, highlight real shit. So, very young career, a lot of momentum, a lot of youth on his side. Hasn't had much inactivity, thankfully. pretty decent, record 19-4 with no contest at his young age. So, he's not lacking in experience and shit. He almost has as many fucking fights as Vinc Pichel himself. Actually, he has more because, he has more fucking fights than Vinc Pichel, even though Vinc Pichel is way fucking older than him. So there you go. He has more experience. I'm just giving you more shit to pick Bonfim with as I'm going through this. And you're going to fucking hate me at the end once I tell you the odds, but I can't with a clean conscience tell you to bet on fucking Vinc Pichel just because the odds are a little fucky. I have to be honest with you and have integrity. Unlike our competitors out there, you know who you are. But anyway, all this to fucking say, I don't really need to waste your time, my time, or anybody else's time telling you why Ismael Bonfim is a fucking, safe, smart choice on this fucking card against Vinc Pichel. But I am sorry, and I regret to inform you, Bonfim is a minus 470. Pichel is a plus 360, but let's be real. That is because of all the things that I just discussed to you. So to take the edge off of that in some way, shape, form, or fucking fashion, if I could see KO TKO odds on this bad boy, I'd like to take that. I think that's a pretty safe bet. He has some pretty good striking. It's very dynamic. Like I said, it leads to highlight real shit, like knocking out Terrence McKinney with a flying knee. Pichel's not going to have the athleticism, the speed, the reactions, etc., to keep up with that. That's kind of how I see this playing out. What do you think, Ben?
I think that's a fantastic breakdown, Bobby. You did your research, man. The only thing is you said he is 41. That is actually incorrect. That's what it's listed for the UFC side. If you go into the archives and find his birth certificate, he's actually born in 1921. That's why he looks like those guys that had those circle barbells. Those circus
old-time Italian strongman.
Yes, yeah, he's back from that time. So he was cryo frozen, and then they unfroze him to come fight in the UFC. So he's actually over 100 years old. But we'll say 41 because that's been his wake walking around years. You're absolutely correct. I think Pichel, he's got low hands, and when he does throw, he throws slow and he moves backwards. So he's prey. He's prey, especially for a guy that attacks forward. Is very accurate striker. I think that Bonfim his strike defense is pretty elite. I believe it was over like 70%, which you don't see that in the UFC. Guys over 70% strike defense, that's really high. He's got good takedown defense too. I'm also gonna be on Bonfim, and I'm also gonna be on the knockout. Take him down.
There we go. Beautiful.
What a start. What a start. I hope these next two we don't derail, but we've got Jack Shore versus Joanderson Brito. This one is much closer in odds, much closer fight. Jack Shore has been in combat sports since he was 6. His dad actually owned a combat gym, and he's been doing and training with his dad pretty much all his life. He's a specialist at the rear naked choke. He comes from behind to win a lot, but he's pretty good. He's got good counters and takedowns. Joanderson Brito, very, very strong. I was really impressed with his strength. He comes out fast. He can win in all methods. He's got good grappling. And where I'm going to see the difference here, and I'll say it again later in the episode, is he doesn't give you any space while grappling. He wants to be in control, and he doesn't want you to be able to slip in anything. And when you can stay on top of guys like that and keep that pressure on, it makes it really hard for guys to do anything. So I think that Brito, I'm going to have him winning this by staying out of danger. I think that's going to be the deciding factor. With the odds right now, minus 175, I'll probably just do that because I can see Brito winning in, like I said, any method. So I will keep that nasty number, but partly is also because this is going to be a tough fight to judge, and I can see it going either way. What side are you on, Bobby?
This is actually really good matchmaking because you have two pretty good prospects here at the featherweight 145-pound division. Joanderson Brito, 29, 16-3-1. Jack Shore, another young guy. Full disclaimer, I have been on the Jack Shore hype train since his Contender Series, I believe it was. Yes, Contender Series debut in the UFC. So, I'm trying not to let that color my perception of this whole fucking ordeal too much here. But yeah, I do like Jack Shore. I will say that. Some things that are interesting to me here that make this so fucking difficult are the fact that, and I say it time and time again, and it's very difficult to not play into it, but with guys that are this young in their career, and I've said a million fucking times, I'm going to stop beating a dead horse here and get to the point, which is I don't play MMA math, but goddamn, sometimes I have to. So where I'm getting at with this, Joanderson, Brito, Weston Wilson, he ground and pounded him in round 1, 2 minutes, 54 seconds back in July last year, right? Now, I've done some grounding and pounding in college myself here, but what I'm getting at is Weston Wilson came from a really odd trailer park style, trashy Dollar General. It's called Rough and Tough or Tough Enough or some bullshit like that promotion out in Vegas. That's kind of just like a hey, if you can't afford the UFC or, a fucking Bellator or a PFL ticket or whatever, come here, get drunk, and watch some fucking bums we put off the street or some fucking nerd ass, bitch ass BuzzFeed reporter who's trying to, get like 2 fucking deciliters of testosterone per fucking milliliter in his fucking goddamn system. So he's going to do MMA training for a month and then fight some fucking can to try to prove something to himself on some Vision Quest type shit. Come watch him get his ass kicked type promotion. So Weston Wilson beating him and then him having 2 UFC fights with 2 fucking finish losses. I feel like Weston Wilson's a fluffer, all right? And break out the camera because we're shooting porn here with all the fucking fluff this man has on his resume. Jonathan Pierce calls himself JSP, mimicking George St. Pierre, GSP. How fucking dare you, Greta Thunberg style? How dare you use GSP's moniker, you motherfucker? Because you fucking suck. Darren Elkins, Makwan Irmakani, Mr. Finland, Christian Rodriguez, those are your best fucking wins. Kai Kamaka the third. You didn't beat Kai Kamaka the second or the fucking first. Who the fuck even is Kai Kamaka? It sounds like a Dragon Ball Z fucking reference. You ran away from Sean Woodson. You lost to Joe Lozon in 2019. I love Joe Lozon, but it's 2019 Joe Lozon, buddy. What the fuck's wrong with you? Were you feverish? So that's JSP, who Joanderson Brito beat. Who else? Lucas Alexander. Let's take a look at Lucas Alexander. 8-4. Lost November last year to Jeka Sirig. Don't even know who the fuck that is. Beat Steven Peterson, lost to Anderson Brito, and that's it. That's his 3 UFC fights. 2 losses, 1 win. Speaks for itself. Read between the lines there, folks. Andre Feely, that's pretty good. Andre Feely 2 years ago, stopping him with punches round 1. That's pretty good. Losing to Bill Algeo, that's a bit sus. January 20. I am impressed that he beat Diego Lopez to get into the UFC and Contender Series 2021. That's his most impressive one right there.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I'm really not seeing much to justify the odds in my mind when that's the caliber of competition that you fought. And I am impressed that they've been finishes, except for the Algeo fight that he lost, and he didn't finish Diego Lopez. So I'm just really confused as to what the fuck the odds makers are kind of thinking with this one here, other than the fact that, Ricky Simone beat Jack Shore 2 years ago by an arm triangle choke in round 2. That does concern me. And don't get me wrong, his last win himself, I'll talk shit about this on him too. March last year, he beat Mr. Finland with a rear naked choke. Timur Valiev. I mean, neither one of these guys have really beat anybody that fucking crazy other than Diego Lopez. I do like the Cage Warriors resume, though. You know how much I've been standing Cage Warriors lately if you follow me on Twitter. Also like the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation European credentials. IMMAF is a pretty good organization, and it's supplied some good talent like off the top of my head, Brendan Allen came from there. Pretty good organization that really puts some good amateur fighters against each other. So that's pretty fucking decent. All that to say, this is a bit difficult. I won't lie to you. But I would rather go down with my boys than pick somebody who's the favorite just because they're the favorite type shit. So all that to say, I'll just take Jack Short the money line. I like the Welsh Dragon. Oh, his nickname's the Tank. Missed opportunity there, but I'll take him just because that's my boy, and just because the odds are a little bit sus to me, a little bit odd. So fuck it, why not money line if I can be profitable? That's how I'm rocking.
I get it. I get it completely. This next fight, Bobby. Let's go back to what you love. Just extremely lopsided numbers.
Yeah, we got Paul Craig versus Cal Borralho, and Cal Borralho because he's one of the guys I've kind of been fucking banging on the drum for what's his nuts, Bo Nickel to
Yeah.
fight next because he's at that perfect number 15 ranking in the middleweight rankings right now that I feel like would just be a perfect litmus test for Bo Nickel. I've also mentioned Paul Craig. After that fucking episode, I looked at the rankings and looked at the next few shitty fights for the next few weeks and realized most of the fucking people in the middleweight division I said would be great tests for Bo Nickel are all fucking booked up. So that's kind of disappointing, but
Damn.
hey, that's life. So Paul Craig, we've covered Paul Craig quite a bit on this show, so I'm not going to do too much on him. Cal Borralho, he's kind of the X factor in this whole situation here. And Paul Craig, we know he himself is enough of an X factor with how fucking weird his fights are and how they're always circus style and you never know what the fuck's going to happen. So let's see. Paul Craig is a plus 340. Borralho's at a minus 440. I'm sure once I start looking it up, I will at least see a little bit of reasoning on the part of Vegas as to why this is such a huge discrepancy in terms of the odds. Because I know that this is also Paul Craig's foray down at 185, coming down from light heavy 205. And it's too early to tell how much success he's going to have right now. But we shall see. Cal Borralho, this is why I've been kind of beating the drum as a potential dark horse that he is in the 185 division. Abus Magomedov, unanimous decision, November last year, good win. Michel Olazechek, rear naked choke submission win. Once again, last episode I told you how much I love a little subby Polish girl, but that's not really impressive that Michael Olazechek got choked out. Mahmoud Muradov, gosh damn, this guy's just fucking international man of mystery. His name just keeps fucking popping up.
It does.
Unanimous decision win over him. Not really impressed by that. That was 2 years ago. Armin Petrosian, the jury's still out on where Petrosian's going to go.
I like him.
Godzi Omargodzizov, not even probably in the fucking UFC anymore, and then Contender Series. So very early in a career, but you can kind of see where the hype's coming from. Pretty good start to the career so far. 15-1 overall MMA record, So you can see why people were kind of beating the drum on him. Paul Craig, we already know Paul Craig. He's the fucking bear Jew. He's going to dress up like Braveheart. He's either going to live up to that fucking face paint or he's going to terribly, terribly disappoint Mel Gibson with it. There's no fucking in between. Coming off a rear naked choke loss November last year to Brendan Allen. No shame in that. Before that, TKO'd Andre Munoz. And so far, those have been his 2 middleweight fights. So 1 loss by finish, 1 win by finish. That's the fucking story of Paul Craig right there, baby.
Right.
Because before that, everything was at light heavyweight. So is it relevant? I mean, he beat Jamal Hill, TKO. Mauricio Rua, TKO. Not really too impressive there. Shogun was pretty old. Nikita Krylov, triangle choke. That's the type of impressive shit. But losing to Alonzo Minifield by KO, not impressive. Choking out Kennedy and Chokru. Thank God he choked out Kennedy and Chokru. I'd be really fucking concerned if he didn't. Lost to Jimmy Crute, a little concerning. No shame in getting knocked out by Khalil Roundtree. Guy we'll be covering again soon. Literally with 1 second left in the fight, triangle choked Magomed Ankalaev. Crazy as shit. All that to say, I don't know. It's always fucking tough to try to figure out what the fuck is going to happen in the Paul Craig fight, especially with odds that fucking insane. That's the only reason why I am going with Paul Craig, because if it was anybody else, I'd be like, fuck it. I'll pick the heavy favorite and just, take my L and move on with the fucking day like I've learned throughout life. But with it being a wild ass Paul Craig fight, not much information to go off of with his 185 debut. Third fight in 185 right now. Not much to go off of with Borralho. Paul Craig money line plus 340. Once again, Cal's at minus 440. I'll just take that money line for Paul Craig and fucking hope for another last second fucking Hail Mary sub attempt, or, some crazy shit like turning Jamal Hill's fucking arm into a ramen noodle or whatever the fuck he does. So that's kind of how I feel about that, just simply because of the meme material and the propensity for Paul Craig to pull shit out of his ass.
Fantastic taste, Bobby. I really don't have anything else for Paul Craig. You said it all. Also, two very handsome gentlemen predicted that Brendan Allen Paul Craig fight, just whenever it happened a couple months ago.
Really? I don't know who the fuck that'd be. Probably Minty Betts or fucking Yanni the Greek stereotype, fucking fake spray tan, or one of those other ass hats out there. Lucas Tracy? Was it fucking Lucas Tracy, little fucking ramen noodle head bitch?
You know what? I remember it now. It was us. My bad.
Oh,
it's Tapping
go
Vegas.
fucking figure. You motherfuckers are gonna give us the flowers one day.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're back after watching last week's episode, welcome back. We're happy to have you again.
Thanks. Love you.
Man, this is a tough one. Borralho, he's got really good grappling, striking, sub-seeker, good top pressure. This is exactly like the one I said just last fight. He just sticks like glue. And that's the thing that I see with Paul Craig. I was watching his tape very closely about how he's getting, like, how did he get Hill? How did he finish Hill? How did he finish Ankalaev? It's these guys that when they're grappling, they leave too much space. And I don't think that Borralho's going to make that same mistake. And I don't think this is probably going to be surprising too, because you were saying how Paul Craig is finished or be finished. I think that Borralho's going to really take this fight and just try to control it. They're going to do a lot of grappling, try to stay behind him, don't get in danger. And I think that he's going to win by decision. I think Borralho's going to get a decision win, just fighting safe. I don't think it's going to be a very entertaining fight. I'm sure, especially it's 301, it's going to get some boos because it's going to be in front of fans. I think this is going to be a big letdown fight, and the decision is going to make it closer than people want it to be, especially for such a heavy favorite. And once again, in a fight where Paul Craig gets finished or be finished, I think this is going to be one of those rare decisions for him.
Yeah, another thing that kind of leads me to kind of go with Paul Craig on this is he just has some really good BJJ credentials. I mean, bronze 2015 Abu Dhabi World Pro and Absolute division, so that's pretty much like a fucking open division, damn near. 2015 Birmingham British Pro Championships gold medalist, 95 kilograms, purple belt. He's a black belt since then. So just really good grappling. So fuck it, why not? That's how I'm rolling.
I don't blame you at all. Both those fights, I feel like they can go either way, and no one's gonna crap on you for taking plus money.
Oh, I'm sure they will after the fight. Once the outcome's already been decided, there'll be some people that probably will, but that's all right.
You're probably right about that. Moving on, another huge odds discrepancy here. We got Michel or Michael?
It's Michel, you're right.
Michel Pereira versus Ihor Potieria.
There we go.
This is it, dude. This is a knuck if you buck fight of the card.
Wowzers. You think this is going to be a knuck if you buck, huh?
I really do. Dude, Pereira, creative fighter. He is so entertaining. He's so fun to watch. I think he can win in all methods. One of the things that is good but bad is that he is so creative, but because he's creative, he can get showy sometimes, and that gets him in danger. I forget the guy's name, smaller than him. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Got finished, I believe it was by this guy. He just got gassed. He just got gassed out by his flashy style.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping that he learned from that. Uh, Potieria wants to stand and strike, but he also gasses. So I think both these guys are probably around the same gas tank endurance level. Also, he gets sloppy, he has poor defense, and he's lost to dudes that are lesser competition that he's going to face in Pereira. So I will take Pereira to win, and I will do the double method of KO sub. I think he gets the finish. I just don't know how. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Michel Pereira, Ihor Potieria is a guy that I want to like just based off of, his physical appearance and shit. He's a classic example of one of those guys who looks like he should be way better than he is.
Yeah.
So that's pretty unfortunate that it's kind of, I get the whole don't judge a book by its cover type fucking thing. But, everybody likes a nice looking fucking cover. Everybody likes a nice et cetera, et cetera. Aesthetics do matter to an extent, but yeah, in this fucking fight, they're not going to matter for Ihor Potieria in any fucking way, shape, form, or fashion, because Ihor Potieria is the most Dagestani looking fucking Ukrainian guy I've ever seen. The only thing that makes it obviously clear that he is not a Dagestani is all the fucking tattoos, but it's pretty fucking interesting nonetheless, because Ihor Potieria has also not fought very often, and just he's coming off like fucking back in 2023. He got knocked out in round 1 and round 2 in those fights, and I just haven't seen much. Fucking his debut, he got knocked out. He's just pretty prime candidate, it looks like, to be fucking knocked out, especially by a guy like Pereira. And he's only won 2 fights in the UFC, lost 3, ain't killed a motherfucker yet. Shout out to Kevin Lee, because the closest he came to killing a motherfucker was Shogun Hua. He hooks to ground strikes finish in round 1 in 2023. I just got done talking about fucking Shogun Hua. Finishing him in 2023 is not an accomplishment. Hold the L, bro. So yeah, not much for me to disagree on. Pretty much see it exactly how you fucking see it with Pereira winning.
Dude, perfect. We're back on track. Let's get to, we were talking about legends. This is another kind of legend of the sport. Why don't you take his fight?
Yeah, this is Jose Aldo versus Jonathan Martinez. I do like Jose Aldo quite a bit. Not much needs to be said about Jose Aldo. If you're a new fan, I'm not going to give you a recap. The only thing I can properly speak for Jose Aldo is for you to watch his repertoire. That's the only thing that can speak for how impressive Jose Aldo has been for the sport. Unfortunately, he gets memed on a lot because he was undefeated for something ridiculous, like fucking 9 years or something crazy before Conor KO'd him in 13 seconds. So that's all people kind of remember about him since then. And that just does not do him credit. That does not do his career justice at all. Before, since then, maybe even currently. I don't think currently, because I really think he should have stayed retired because he hasn't fought since 2022. So this is Jose Aldo's first fight back since then, when he lost a unanimous decision to Merab Dvalishvili. Don't really need to say much about that. No shame in that. Merab Dvalishvili, the king of I'll shoot 70 takedowns, maybe only get 3, and the fucking judges will sit there with their thumbs up their ass and jerk off to it and enjoy it. So there you go. Even though Dvalishvili's kind of growing on me, I will admit. Nonetheless, back to the topic at hand. Jose Aldo, yeah, he's, see, the man's been competing for fucking ever, and he's managed to stay pretty competitive, even moving up and down in weight classes. When he fought Conor, that was at 145. Later stages of his career, like right now, he's dropped down to 135 bantamweight, where this fight's taking place. And when he first started doing that, and I believe like 2021, he had some good success. Unanimous decision win over Rob Font, unanimous decision over Pedro Munoz, good wins over those guys at the time. Beat Chito Vera, unanimous decision. Did lose to Peter Yan in 2020 by KO TKO. So he's been in bantamweight actually since fucking 2019. That's when he dropped down, was 2019. Lost to Marlon Moraes. That's a little bit concerning considering how much off the cliff Marlon Moraes went in his career. But other than that, pretty good wins over Cheeto and Munoz and fucking Rob Font. So not bad. Just once again, think he should have stayed retired, because Jonathan Martinez is really looking like that guy in the division. And that's a division that I've said this before. I'm really tired of people fucking hyping up 155, the lightweight division, as the Shark Tank. It's not the fucking Shark Tank anymore when Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje just take turns fucking running a train on title shots that they don't deserve. They're those guys that show up looking like threes, pulling tens, and you don't fucking know how. That's the state of the lightweight division right now with Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Bantamweight, meanwhile, you got guys like fucking Devishvili, Jonathan Martinez, fucking who else? I mean, Sean O'Malley's the champ.
Right.
Aljo moved up, but just those guys alone, those three guys there, Jonathan Martinez, fucking O'Malley. Let me just go ahead and pull up the rankings to really illustrate it to you guys because I'm having a fucking brain fart right now.
Cheeto.
Because Cheeto, yeah, even though Cheeto got his ass whooped, he's still a fucking threat to anybody at any time. Corey Sandhagen, goddamn, how could I forget Corey Sandhagen? Corey Sandhagen, Peter Yan, even though he's coming off injury, he did
Song Yadong.
he did look good against Dong. I'm not going to mention Henry Cejudo. We're just going to forget that. Moving on.
No.
Davison Figueiredo. Hey, Davison Figueiredo's
Big
making
win.
some noise. Song Yadong, Rob Font, Umar no, Nurma, Kyler Phillips, Mario Batista, Munoz nowadays, Ricky Simone, maybe. And then Dominic Cruz needs to retire. He's at 11 somehow, but hey, that's the rankings for you. What I'm getting at with this is he just made Jonathan Martinez did short work of a guy I was very, very high on, and I picked against him in this fight. Adrian Yanez, TKO leg kick, like it was fucking nothing. Just dominated Yanez, a guy a lot of people were high on as a dark horse in 135. They don't call him Tranquilized Yanez for no fucking reason. Made him look like an amateur, kicked his ass pillar to post. Saeed Nurmagomedov win. Pretty fucking impressive. He's not the best Nurmagomedov, but he's nonetheless a fucking Nurmagomedov. Unanimous decision. TKO over Cup Swanson. He's getting up there in age, but that's respectable for 2 years ago. Vince Morales, Alejandro Perez, this guy who's not even in the UFC, doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, Thomas Almeida at the time was decent. Frankie Sands, What I'm getting at is the guy's doing pretty fucking well for himself after a rough debut, losing to Andre Soccer Mom, a.k.a. Sukumthoth. You guys know him as the guy who could have beaten Sean O'Malley had he literally just fucking walked away because Sean O'Malley could not stand up on his leg, fell down on the canvas, and Soccer Mom just fucking gave him the win. So, yeah, he's not even in the UFC. But there's some definite potential there with Martinez. So this is one of those fights that kind of has me wondering, is this going to be a case of I hate when this happens, but at the same time with a guy I genuinely personally like Aldo, it doesn't sting as much when a guy who clearly needs to fucking retire and is clearly the old guard gatekeeps so hard that he prevents a guy who's a young, bright prospect from entering. I can't really bitch too much when I personally like him like Aldo. And I mean, that is their purpose, to gatekeep, to see if they are truly elite and deserving of take that next step. But I would be a little disappointed if he did succeed in holding fucking Martinez back because I just enjoy new talent. And Aldo's done it all. He's had his shot. He's had his chance. He's had the belt. Even if he wins, it just feels futile because he's not going to go much farther in bantamweight, having already lost to Devishvili and having to get through all these other fucking sharks swimming around him. So I'm going to go with Jonathan Martinez begrudgingly, and something's telling me I might regret it. But I just like Jonathan Martinez. He's a younger guy, and I just feel like Aldo's sticking around a little too long. And when you stick around a little too long in MMA, you don't get a graceful retirement. You don't get to just sign with the fucking Falcons and retire or whatever your dream team that you started with is. You usually end up getting posterized or on somebody's highlight reel. I don't know if that's going to happen this fight, but it doesn't exactly leave me very confident. So I'm picking Martinez. I don't know by KO, TKO. Aldo's tough. He's very hard to put out, but I'll say probably I'll just take the money line depending on what it's at. What do you got, Ben?
I love your breakdown. I don't have a ton to add to that. Jose Aldo, one of his best things was his leg kicks. And then you look at Jonathan Martinez, and I believe he is one of two people that have multiple leg kick KOs in their career. because he got it
Yes.
on the guy you were talking about in Cub Swanson. Um, I just think
Cub and Yanez.
Yes, yes. I just think Martinez, he's really talented, dude. And this fight just reminds me so much of just back at UFC 300. We were just talking about it, and I love that you added. I might regret it because you said that about this fight that I'm about to talk about too. You said I might regret it. You even texted me. You're like, I knew I was gonna regret it. The Oliveira fight. So you can
Oh,
Oliveira fight.
yeah.
We said, you know what? Oliveira's been around for forever. Everybody knows Oliveira. Everybody's gonna throw money on Oliveira. Oliveira ended up being the heaviest. Most money was on Oliveira out of any fight that night, and we both took Saryukin. We said, you know what? He's gonna get it done. He said, I'm nervous, but I'm gonna go on that side with you. I'm also on the Martinez side with you for the money line, and I think once again we might see a whole bunch of money coming on Jose Aldo. Aldo's currently the favorite, so they might think, you know what? All these other fights that have these huge numbers, I'll take Aldo at -115 versus a -112, and I'll cash out that way when the dude hasn't fought since August 2022. I don't see much of a downside with Martinez in this fight. I know Aldo's a legend, but we're not talking about careers. We're talking about UFC 301, and I think Martinez is the side to be on.
Right. And great point mentioning one of Aldo's best weapons being the leg kick. That also isn't, like you said, going to be something that Martinez is going to struggle with because he likes throwing just as many fucking leg kicks. So he's going to know how to check those. He's going to know how to prepare for those, etc. The guys that Aldo made work of coming up in his, 9 years or however fucking ridiculously long it was undefeated streak while he was holding the belt and everything. The guys he succeeded against were like your wrestle boxers, like your Chad Mendez, those type of guys, like your Uriah Faber. I don't really remember if Faber was a wrestle boxer because I haven't watched too many of his actual fights. But the guys he struggled with were other good strikers, like Conor McGregor was the better striker. Max Holloway, better striker in their two fights that Max Holloway beat him and everything. Those are the guys he struggles with. Guys who are anywhere close to or equal to or better than him on the striking level. I feel like Martinez could certainly have the talent striking wise to at least hang with him. I'm not necessarily saying he's on Aldo's level because Aldo's had so much fucking more time and experience and etc. to cultivate the skill set. But what I'm getting at is Aldo at this advanced age is kind of a prime candidate to be taken advantage of by Martinez. He's not some slow, plodding wrestle boxer that, Aldo used to kick the shit out of their legs, time their takedowns with knees to try and knock them out, shit like that. Like, that's not really who Martinez is. He's not really tailor-made for Aldo like Aldo's kind of made for him type thing.
Right, right. 7 years younger too. Martinez is.
Right. That's starting to now be significant, especially with all the miles that Jose Aldo has in just the fucking 2 wars with Max Holloway alone will take some fucking years off your lifespan.
That's true. That's true. We saw that very recently. Uh,
Yes.
Going to the main event for UFC 301, we got Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. I feel probably too confident about this one. I'm interested to see what you have to say, but Pantoja, he is the king of controlling time and position. I mean, that is this guy's MO. This dude does gas, but if he can take you down and ride you out, he can be okay. Um, Wins by sub or decision. He's not really a knockout guy. Looking at Erceg though, I think he's only had 3 UFC fights. He's a fluid fighter. He's got some sub work. He kind of looks like he wants to stand and strike to me. And I don't think he's going to be able to against Pantoja. I think Pantoja's going to be able to take him down. I think Pantoja's going to be able to ride him out, get some good punches in. I think last time we did the Pantoja versus the lesser Brandon Royval,
Right.
a
Yeah.
while back. And Pantoja, I believe he didn't get the finish in that one, correct? He got the finish the first time, didn't the second time?
Let me double check right quick what Pantoja did in that fight. I think you're right, but let's find out here.
So I think we both thought he was going to finish Brandon Royval again.
Yes, I believe that's what we thought. Yeah, it was a unanimous decision. He didn't get the finish.
And we just saw Royval actually just beat better Brandon Moreno, in Mexico too. We never said Royval was a slouch, but Moreno's we've seen the seal of Moreno. I'm going to say that wasn't a hit on Pantoja. I don't think it was Pantoja losing it for us, but Royval getting better. Steve Erceg coming in, he's only had 3 fights and he gets a championship fight against Pantoja. I don't see this going well for him. I think that Pantoja gets the finish here. I think he gets the sub actually on Erceg. So it's at minus 258 if you have the money line for Pantoja. I think that he calls it an early night. Gets a sub. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, this was the most out of left field, random ass title shot I can think of in fucking recent history. I get 125 men's flyweight in the UFC is a bit of a shit show of a division and has been for a few years. And back as early as 2019, 2020 era, there was talks about it not even fucking existing anymore. A lot of people were afraid it would just be entirely dissolved. The rest of the fighters would either be forced to go elsewhere, move up a weight class, get cut, whatever. So now, thankfully, with Pantoja, Royval, Moreno, those guys in there, even Caio France to an extent, Manel Kopp when he's fucking healthy. Gosh, I really want to see fucking Manel Kopp in the mix, but the man just can't fucking fight to save his life. He can't be active, and it sucks. So Muhammad Mokaev, there's guys, breathing fresh air into the division now, thankfully, that kind of make for some interesting matchups. Somebody, Tagir Ulanbekov. I was really high on him. I don't know what the fuck he's up to nowadays because he's another guy that I'm going over the rankings because I'm trying to justify why the fuck Steve Erceg has this title shot over any of the guys I just fucking named other than Royval and Moreno because they just got the shots. So those guys are obviously out. So I'm trying to fucking say. So what's going on with Tagir? Because Tagir should be making his way up there. Last fought December 2023, won against Cody Durden with a face crank, choked out Nate Maines in 2022. A little bit inactive. I wonder why. I just don't. Steve Erceg, I didn't even know was on the roster. It's just all the fucking memes. You've seen it. You know how it's going. It's just so fucking bizarre that he got the title shot off 3 UFC fights. Yeah. And I don't even believe that anybody that he's fucking fought has even been ranked. I have to check that out because I'm just baffled at all the people that could have had the fucking title shot. I mean, I'm usually not a fan of giving guys so early in their career like Mokaev the title shot because he also hasn't had that many fights, but damn, I feel like you could make a better fucking case for him.
Oh, I would much rather see that than this versus Erceg.
Yeah, so let's see. David Dvorak, that was Erceg's debut. I think he is ranked. Yeah, he's ranked at 14. And then he also beat Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell, are you ranked in the fucking 125 division? You are at 11. All right, I guess that's just how thin the division is. So fine, fair enough, whatever. You got to win over the number, fucking 11 guy and the number 14 guy. Sure, why not? Caio France, that would have been interesting, even though I fucking hate Caio France. I have to be fair there. All right, point is, the only reason why I'm concerned is it's the same shit I've talked about. I like Pantoja personally as a fighter. I like his style. I think he's exciting. His breakdowns that I've read and shit make me a big fan of him. We've covered him quite a bit on the show ad nauseum. The same things concern me that always have. His propensity to stand and bang when he really should be utilizing his grappling or trying to get it to the fucking mat. His cardio, I made an excuse for his cardio in the Moreno fight because they were, I believe, at altitude in Mexico City at one point, or is that the Royval fight?
Royval and Moreno were in Mexico City.
Okay, so yeah, there was a fight that he had in Mexico City where I made the excuse of, okay, well, his cardio shit because it's Mexico City. It's high fucking altitude. It's notorious for that. Fair enough, whatever. He still won. But even, at places that are not necessarily notorious for high altitude, he just seems really gassed, really quick, and like he's just putting himself in sloppy situations that it's like, gosh damn, man, you're blessed with a good chin because that really seems to bail you out sometimes. But it's not exactly like Steve Erceg's that guy that just has that fucking Poetan Alex Pereira touch of death here. I know his last win, he is coming off a one-punch KO of Matt Schnell, but it's Matt Schnell for fuck's sake. So all that to say, yeah. The only thing that the sub part's interesting to me because, like I said, he does need to use his grappling way fucking more than he does. It's just he doesn't, which is what concerns me about the whole sub thing. So the sub would have to be relying, I feel like, on Erceg wanting to take it to the ground because I don't think Pantoja is going to be trying to initiate it.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. He, like I said, his biggest problem is you watch Pantoja and you scream at the fucking TV for him to shoot a takedown or at least clinch or at least fucking wall install or something. But he just does the wine mom double right hand and it lands and it packs a hell of a fucking punch and it even rocks guys like Davison Figueiredo, but he just refuses. Like Jack Slack hit the nail on the head. It's the Lamborghini he just keeps in the garage. It's a garage queen. Like he just doesn't drive the motherfucker. It just collects dust. And it's just a shame because you want to see it and it is great and he could rip somebody's fucking leg or ankle off, but I don't know. I don't know how durable Steve Erceg is either is my problem. But you know what? Fuck it. I'll roll with you. If you think it's a sub, I'll go with a sub because money line, it's not where it's at with these odds.
No. And I would like sub decision if I knew what it was, but I feel like sub and decision double method, I think that's not going to take much off. I feel like we're still going to be pretty high in the negatives.
Yeah. He's a pretty big favorite, which is a little disappointing because the way people started to talk on social media after the initial shock of the announcement wore off, there were a lot of dumbasses who were kind of planting the seed of, he looks like some dude off The Office. I don't fucking watch The Office. Adam Carell, whatever the fuck his name is, characters, who he looks like. So he's been playing into that. Everybody else has been, well, what if the guy from The Office is the new flyweight champion, blah, 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 blah. So I was hoping some dumbasses would kind of drive those numbers in a favorable direction for Pantoja. But I guess at least as of right now, that's not occurring. So that's unfortunate. But, I mean, it is what it is. At least there's some faith in humanity restored that people aren't that fucking dumb to put their money on Erceg just because of memes.
Right. What do you think about like the decision? Do you think that it could go to decision? You know,
It's a 5-round title fight. It's always possible, especially with Pantoja because he has that power, but he also, once again, just relies too much on that because if the fucking double overhand right doesn't work, he just keeps doing it. And that's probably a contributing factor to why he fucking gasses because he's just throwing full force punches, trying to take dudes' heads off the whole fucking fight. And that's how he gets into the danger zone against guys like Moreno. But I don't know. It's tough. I mean, yeah, I could see it being a decision for sure because I sure as hell didn't think Roy Val would survive again the way he took Roy Val's back in the first fight, but
right.
Obviously I was wrong on that.
Good on Roy Val. Learning, getting to a decision, and then beating Moreno.
Yeah.
What do you think for the haymaker?
Oh, for the haymaker. Well, haymaker's a haymaker for a reason. I'm not a Paul Craig fan by any means. I don't even really like the guy. I mean, how the fuck is that not your haymaker? He's the definition of a haymaker. That's like your Hail Mary right there every time.
Are you gonna just do Paul Craig money line, or are you gonna throw a method on there?
Oh shit.
How crazy do you want to go?
Paul Craig sub. Because I already said money line for main prediction.
Yeah.
So you're profitable no matter what. But if I'm going haymaker, then fuck it. I'm going last second Magomed Ankalaev sub.
I love it, Bobby. I love it. Do you have anything else before we get out of here?
No, nothing else. Just thanks everybody for liking, subscribing, watching the content. Definitely keep following along on Twitter. Twitter game keeps getting better. And
yeah, it does.
Yeah, unfortunately, had more fun with this episode than last week, but still kind of in the fucking desert in terms of fight card quality for the next few weeks in the UFC, unfortunately.
Well, we're going to grit through it with you guys, so no worries there. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, like this video. Let your friends know about us. We're a small channel. We're trying to grow. You know, the more interaction, we do a lot of giveaways on our channel, so we can start doing some giveaways here too. If you guys haven't yet, check out our other shows on Better and Green also. We cover football, basketball, probably a little bit of baseball. We cover hockey, a lot of shows over on Better and Green. And if you haven't yet, check out the app Sharps. It's a social media platform for sports bettors. Use our code BET269. That's bet with 2 T's, BETT269. And you guys, if you see a play that you like, you can press the whale tail. It'll take you straight to the app. You guys can tail a play. You can place your bets on it. And besides that, guys, thank you for watching again, and we'll see you guys on the next episode for the next card. Peace.
Peace.
You better start listening to the Better and Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spots from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better and Green.